back to season 3 of Let's Talk About with Richa. And today we have an awesome woman with us, Linnéa Engström from Sweden.
Hi.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
My audience want to know who you are and what do you do, Linnéa?
Oh, that's an existential question, but yeah, I have a background in policy. I've worked almost 10 years in the fishing industry or with the fishing industry, trying to improve it. So I'm really like, my heart is in sustainability issues, mainly environmental, but also social, gender equality.
Yeah.
I started my career in policy. I was a political scientist, and I started in the Green Party here in Sweden. And then I came into the European Parliament in 2014, which was, of course, an amazing journey. I was pretty young at the time. And for the last 5 years, I've been working with environmental eco-label called MSC. So yeah,
Wow.
trying to drive sustainability in the fishing sector. And yeah, now I'm working together with you and a couple of amazing ladies on developing my own business, which is super exciting. So yeah. I'm really happy to be here.
I mean, you said when I was young. I mean, I guess you're still very young. You look very, very young. So you have achieved so much in such a short time, in such a young age. And I love your energy and what you are trying to do. I mean, we all talk about sustainability, environment, circular economy, the blue economy, but you actually are one of those who doing something about it, not just talking about it. We're really focusing and doing something about it. So tell us a little bit more about your work in sustainability.
I mean, of course, when I was in the European Parliament, there was a couple of legislative files at the time, and like the EU Green New Deal is still kind of trying to drive circular economy. But what I find inspiring now, working with the G100 network, is of course this link to India, the EU-India kind of partnership that we're trying to build around sustainability and circular economy. And of course, India being kind of, this huge, amazing market, 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
If India can do it, then, we have a really good case to show that it's possible. Yeah.
Yes, because countries like India, even though they are becoming one of the biggest superpowers, having so many people, every change takes time. When you are like a small country like Norway, change is easier to implement because we are so few people.
Yeah.
Whereas a mental or a mindset even takes a lot of time to change in a big country like India.
I mean, we have these amazing raw materials here in the Nordic part of the world, right? So we have mining in Sweden, and then we have deep sea mining in Norway, which is, of course, you can question it, but it's going to be a part of this electrification of societies. And I think we need to think really cleverly about how we use, how we extract raw materials, how we get better at recycling them, because they are very rare. And so this is deep time, right? It's really like we're mining something that was constructed billions and billions years ago, which is kind of strange that we take it out and then use it in a computer and then we throw it away. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all. And but it has been, very focused on now. We are doing it now because we're living now, and nobody has seen tomorrow, and we kind of, as you say, just taking it out, using it, and then we don't have a good plan how to dispose of it without actually causing more damage. We're already causing damage to extract it, but there's no plan to how to dispose of it without damaging it further.
Exactly. And I think, the things that we are interested in, like self-development and like how do we become better, both mindset wise and like, our place in the world. Us humans, we're pretty bad at thinking long-term strategically. So we think very short-term. And especially now with the war and everything, people are really looking, you know, into their pockets and like, I'm losing out. I think that's the feeling that we got now. So, you know, we need to, everybody is kind of scared to lose their economy and their house and their investments. So I think that sustainability is just, you know, it's going to be challenging. We have to think really cleverly about how we, you know, maintain the momentum and make it attractive as well. So we don't,
Yes, I
don't want to go
has,
back. We're gonna go forward, right? We're gonna develop our societies in a good way, but we also need to think cleverly about, you know, preserving stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think that mindset is starting, and the youngsters and the new generation are much more aware of it than before. So there is hope. But I want to touch into what you also said, that you work a lot with gender equality, and you have some exciting projects going on.
Yeah.
Before we touch upon that, I mean, we are lucky who live in Scandinavia, where gender equality, even though we have a long way to go, there are a lot of things we need to still work on. We still have a lot of issues, but the world is looking towards us for that. You know, we have many female leaders in the different industries. But you being in shipping and fishing and all of these industries, what kind of challenge have you faced in this male-dominated industries, or have it been easier for you, do you think?
I'm not sure because I'm still kind of white and privileged and from a rich country, you know, so I don't want to make myself too like, yeah. But of course, being young in a policy setting is quite challenging, and being the only woman, I think it's more of these patriarchal, hierarchical, you know, ethnocentric structures that we all battle, and sometimes we feel it really clearly, and sometimes it's not obvious to us.
Exactly.
But for sure, when I came from politics, I was kind of devastated, and I had to write a whole book about the things just to kind of digest what I've had, what I experienced. I think now when I'm looking back, maybe it was more my age because I was so young, and I was a mother as well. And you know, my generation were brought up thinking that we could have it all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I can be a mother and juggle a baby and and being in a legislative process. That was pretty tough, and like the everybody around me didn't really buy that story. So, you know, I think more of trying to juggle private life with professional life, which I think every woman eventually you end up in this very, very hard, you cannot choose between your passion for your job and your children. So it's a non-existent choice, which I think many women are faced with. And I
think so too.
Yeah, still we haven't created those structures that enables women to have both, right? So I think that was the main thing for me.
Yeah. That's very interesting. And I think you're right there, that this is a choice that every woman face in every country, no matter how gender equal there are, or opportunities are the same, or the society is trying to put the same opportunities in place. Not always there, but at least there are some guidelines for how to, you know, make it as even as possible. But I think we're still faced with that choice no matter what, because I think in our nature, it is, we feel bad when we neglect our children, you know, and it is different, I think, because I can see it with my children. My husband is very engaged, actually. He's very engaged, but he's still not as engaged as I am, you know. And he didn't have to make that choice between his career or the children, but I was feeding them and I was taking care of them, and it was in my nature to do it, you know. And then, so with the first child, I regretted my choice to going back too early with to my career and everything. Second child, I actually said, no, I'm gonna enjoy this time because they are small only a little while. And I want to see everything, because I really regretted it with my son that I went so early. He went early to kindergarten. And even though I spent a lot of time with him, I still felt the time went too fast. And yeah, so I think every woman, but there should be her choice. I think that's the fact. I think in Norway and Sweden and Scandinavia, we still have that choice. In many countries, they don't even have that choice. So I think if you are not faced with that choice, that's also a different issue. But if you have a choice, then it's up to us to make it. And I don't think a lot of women are aware that they can, that they have the opportunity in countries like this to make that choice.
And I think like the backlash we're seeing now is that we expect men to be more, gender equal and take the parental leave and be more like, this discussion is ongoing, and I think it's a very important one that we need to take into all spheres of life, and especially the businesses that we work with, or when we're trying to think cleverly about it. So yeah, it's for sure going always to be important point.
It's very important. You, as I said, you have something very exciting coming up very soon. Do you want to share it with us?
Yeah, for sure. So we're trying to, the last thing that I did in the European Parliament was to vote on the EU taxonomy, basically to do capital markets more sustainable, or just to try to drive the whole finance sector towards, taking a bit more responsibility for the environment and for gender equality. So I'm working with an asset management firm to set up a gender equality fund. Which I think is super exciting. Yeah. And there are a couple of listed companies already, about 100 or so, or even more, that are very ambitious and are reporting back on gender equality. And that could be, for example, enabling women for leadership positions, enabling them for, having this balance between professional life and private life. But then we're also going to create this mechanism to drive funds towards women's, because we need also more women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And I don't know if you have had this discussion in Norway, but in Sweden it's like, yeah, women they're not risk taking, and they don't want to
have that. We have had that, and we come to the conclusion that we do take risk, but we are much more, what do you call it? We take much more of a calculated risk. If we can calculate the risk, we are the first one to take the risk, but it's not that we are not risk takers. So we do take risk, and especially as entrepreneurs and investors, we are willing to take the risk, but we like to calculate it first.
No, but I think it's going to be exciting to work between our Nordic countries to actually try to drive this agenda, so that we can kind of lift our societies together. Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Norway have so much in common.
Yes.
Although we still speak in English to each other, but we have a culture. And
I think that is so we don't misunderstand each other. It's so that the message is not lost in the translation. So I think that's why we wanted to speak in English. But so how do you define success?
I think success to me, when I was there in my 30s, success was definitely like having a career, having a family, having it all. I think I'm now, when I'm in my 40s, moving more towards, inner development combined with being able to do what you really like, to pursue your goals. Because I think in this age, you can easily also kind of stagnate, and you can stay at the job, lift your salary, and then things get boring, and and because you have a lot of investments, you have a house that you need to pay the mortgage, you have children that needs all of these clothes and bikes and whatnot, so you get easily trapped in this kind of feeling that I just have to have a payment that comes in steadily. So I'm trying now to challenge myself to go beyond. And I'm really this kind of person. I need a challenge, and I want to develop as a person as well. I don't want to be stagnating. I want to be dynamic and explore new things. So I feel that I've always wanted a career that was international, to work with people who are from other cultures. I grew up in that place with like people from Iran, Chile, Peru, like Nigeria. I really appreciate the network that we're a part of, Richa, where we can meet women from all of the world and share experiences. And I think that's where I'm heading. And I attended this delegation to India then in January, and it was amazing. Like I really want to, I want to work together with other cultures. That's what I found like really exciting and where I develop as a person.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't it exciting that our definition for success keep on changing?
Yeah.
As we, evolve or grow and, change all the time. And even the definition for success changes.
I mean, I think when I was 17, success was probably to have a boyfriend, right? Like, the only thing I wanted to have was to have a boyfriend. And then now I'm separated and I don't care about boyfriends anymore, which is lucky for me. No, but definitely, because you evolve as a person and all your experiences are kind of building your mental mindset as well, of course. So.
Yeah, and we achieve new things, and then after a while we realize it's not, it's fun to achieve what you set out to achieve, but it's actually the journey that we are on that is much more exciting than actually the goal in itself. So you do a lot of different things, you focused on gender equality, sustainability, running your business, setting up this fund, and being part of different networks. So how do you manage your time when you do, like when we juggle 100 different balls in the air and have children and have a house and everything else, and you want to have a social life and you want to stay healthy, it's a lot of different pressures, but also choices we make to stay focused. But how do you manage your time?
I think this is the most important question for women after, I don't know, having children and working so hard. I worked so hard for 10 years. I was very exhausted. I've been to the point where I hit this famous wall that everybody is talking about.
Keep on hitting, even though we're hitting the same wall and we're not learning from each other.
No, I think, one thing that I really try to learn my kids is to relax, because in this pace that our society is moving with all these choices, we need to be really, cautious about where we invest our time and I think I've become better because I'm now, I go to the sauna every week, to swimming, I exercise, like, all of these basic stuff that we as still we're in the Stone Age, right? We are so fundamentally like very simple beings. We need good sleep and exercise and good food and everything and love from your family and friends and partners. So I think refilling you is extremely important when you are busy. But I just very clearly, I work like in mornings I'm very effective. In the afternoon I'm dead. That's my kind of curve. So I work very efficiently in the morning and a bit after lunch, and then I rest. I really take time to rest. And I think that's even more important for women actually, to take some rest, because we are taking a lot of responsibility for everybody's well-being and thinking about the children and how are they doing? Do they have friends and everything? So we really need our time to be also looking inwards and, keep a diary, write down what you're grateful for, what are your achievements, and also some positive reaffirmation, like this I did really well, because this is also something that is a bit taboo in our cultures, to be kind of, patting yourself on the shoulder and like, yeah, you did really well.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
The famous janteloven, that don't think you're something, or don't praise yourself for doing work that everybody would do anyway, so we are not But I have changed I celebrate every small win. I do that. So do you celebrate?
I can see
I know
that.
you said yes, I pat myself on the shoulder, but do you actually celebrate?
I can see that you're doing that really well, actually. And I'm very inspired by that. No, I think it could be better. I think I still have this kind of, a little bit like Lutheran, because I grew up in a very Christian family, like work hard, be very serious, go to church. Like I have this kind of feeling inside. But then, so there was this, we had this Melody Festival, and I guess you have that also. And there's this drag show artist called Elektra, and she sings a song called Unna Day, like Unna Day. Take some time to drink some wine and have a cookie and, go for a swim and just lie on the couch.
Yeah.
I think about that every day, Unna Day, like take it easy. Life is long, and the best mentors I've had is just like, you're so in a hurry. Just take, and I know
everybody say that. But that's why I think we too. Why? Because we both have a lot of energy, and we are going in 150 kilometers an hour, and there are no breaks, and and we keep on running. But I think it's a good that when the day is over, I always say that I did well today. And then I think about all the good things I did and what are the things I could learn from, of course, but those are not so much in focus. That is for another day because I'm still going to learn from them, but I don't have to highlight them, my mistakes or my learning lessons. I don't highlight them. I only highlight the wins.
Yeah.
Maybe I took a phone call, or if I'm challenging myself, or if I'm procrastinating and I don't want to challenge myself to get back into the game, I say, okay, if I do this, then only I will do this, or I can get the cup of coffee, or I'll go to the cafe and just, eat something nice, or, I don't necessarily connect it with eating, but I will do something that I've been longing to do. So I'm sure that I can get the reward after I've done the hard part. And so I celebrate. Yes, I did it. I actually did it. So yes,
we even want to take you further. I want to erase the word mistakes from my life, because my mistakes, quote quote, was the biggest lessons learned and something that really developed me as a person. It was extremely painful, but it was just necessary for me to get, better. So I think mistakes, and it was also interesting to be top director in a team, because people are extremely scared of failing or mistakes. So I think as a leader, you need to think, we should erase mistakes from our mindset. Everything is a win. Everything is a success.
But what I think is
learning.
Yeah, but I think we can't erase a word, because then another word would take that place and it will have the same association. I think we should take away the association that we have with the word mistake. That, okay, we made a mistake, so what can we learn from it? It's all about how you look at that word, or what you've done, the action or the decision that you have made. What have that led to? And how can we learn from it? I think if we erase the word, something else will come in instead of that. And then that word will have the same association. If we make it a little bit easier for the outcome, when you have, of course, when it is a big money loss, that's, I think, is the worst kind of mistake people think we can make. But after losing everything, in 2015, I started 3 new businesses in 2016.
Oh, wow.
And I take responsibility for my part of that situation. I do. But I didn't cause it, but I might have done something. I made some decisions that I shouldn't have, but I lost everything, and we didn't have a lot of money. So I learned a lot, and then I moved on and I made the money again, and 10 times more. So I think when we relate loss of money as losing something, I think that's when you get too scared to make the decisions and make the wrong decisions, you know. So
yeah, exactly, it's the same. And I felt like in 2019, when I couldn't get reelected, I felt that I lost my whole career or my identity, because I had invested so much in being like a politician and a part of a political party. And I felt that, you know, they basically threw me out on the street. So like I lost my identity. But then, you know, yeah, it was a hard learning. And it's very painful to go through that. But at the end of the day, it was probably something that, you know, built my resilience and also kind of forced me to look inside and to kind of evaluate myself a little bit, which was
so if you would have made the same decisions, if you could go back, would you make the same decisions, or did you, you know, would you made some changes?
Like, yeah, you can't really regret your decisions, right? But I was kind of naive, and but you need to trust people as well. If I could change something, maybe I should have trusted certain individuals, but at the end of the day, you also have to work together with others, and you have to trust someone. You cannot be on your own. So it's I think that's a very hard, you know,
lesson to learn. It is a very hard
lesson. You still, like, I really felt that I made the decisions that I believed in at the time. I couldn't say no to being a mother. I wanted to be with my children. I really also wanted to pursue some stuff that I thought was super important, like delegations to fishing communities that I, you know, so at the end of the day, you have to live with all of this baggage and kind of forgive yourself. Like, okay, you did the best that you could in that situation, whether it's, you know, taking decisions that made you lose money or your career or even your partner. Like, love is very upsetting for people also to lose,
of course,
out in your marriage.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I think, you know, we do as good as we can in the situation, and we have to live with those decisions. So yeah, that's the hard part.
I love yeah, because as I said earlier, we are on a journey, right? And we don't always arrive for the desired destination, but we always arrive somewhere. And when I set goals, and if I achieve them or not achieve them, I always look at myself and think, what kind of person am I now? You know, because that's the most interesting part of a journey, is that when you had arrived to a certain point in your life, you know, that any turning point or anywhere, what kind of person am I? Or what kind of person have I become because of that situation? And that's much more of a interesting question, not so much what mistakes did I make, but what kind of a person have I become because of that. So do you feel that you become much more skeptical person towards other people? No?
Oh, that's the thing. There was, the thing is that I'm extremely, like, I trust people to an extreme. It's almost more like a value to me than something that so I just, you know, I completely go full in when I meet someone, and I'm like, yeah, let's do stuff together. I think you've noticed that with me. So it's almost like a value, like something that is deep at my core. And I think that was because my mother passed away this summer, but she was this person that she was always had, you know, believed that people were good at heart. And sometimes, you know, I could see that she was very naive, but it also brings out something very beautiful in other people when you just believe that they're going to treat you well.
Yeah.
So it's also, of course, a great privilege, because I was like 35 before someone really was very, very mean to me, which is also kind of astounding when you think about it. Like, you know, most people, they experience some kind of bullying or harassment when they grow up, and some horrible stuff. But yeah, I've been extremely lucky. So yeah, I think we need to trust each other more, and that's the currency that we're dealing with when we're working with business as well, or anything for that matter. That, you know, I have to build trust around me, otherwise I can't do anything.
I think you're right that in business, that is a currency that is rarely there, but I think I believe that we women have it easier to trust, but then also we face much more challenges due to that. A lot of my clients have experienced the same thing as I have experienced, that I trusted the wrong kind of people, lost everything, and then built it again, and then I didn't let anybody come into my business.
Yeah.
Not that I don't trust people anymore. Once I meet them, I always trust them unless they hurt me somehow. But I don't let them into my business anymore the same way. I don't trust people with everything I have in a business anymore. And I still see that a lot of the women that I coach now have gone through exactly the same. They trusted them, that they were their friend, or they were, so I think it's something we need to learn anyway, especially if you're in business, that the formalities should be in place. And it's easier, and I think we all need to grow with that, but it's a beautiful ability to be able to trust people right away, and yourself, to build trust that I can trust somebody else. If you have the trust in your own abilities, then it's easier to trust other people and let them.
Yeah. So it's the same, you speak to the voice that you speak to yourself, you speak to others as well, right? So if you're very harsh toward yourself, you're going to be kind of critical towards others as well. But I think, yeah, of course, you need to be a little bit of, a good judge of people's character, of course. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's important to trust others as well.
So would you say that when you kind of was pushed into a different career, unwillingly, was that a turning point for you? Or did you have another turning point? What was the turning point that made you, go for this kind of work that you're doing?
I think, I really felt that I came to a very safe place when I left politics, because I had experienced a lot of hard, battles, negotiating legislation and whatnot. But I really felt that I landed in a nice environment when I came to this eco-label, this organization. But at the end of the day, since I am this person with a lot of energy, a lot of ideas, like I'm already 5 years ahead of thinking about the future and the future that I want to create. I think at some point this place was too small for me, and it wasn't the turning point for me because I felt probably when I published my book that was about my childhood and about my political career, that I gained a lot of knowledge about myself, and I felt that I had dealt with some trauma and some difficulties that was very, very hard to access. And when I got it out there, I was free to let go of some stuff that was holding me back, because everything is in our heads, right? It's about the mindset. If we constantly believe that we need to be in a secure place and we cannot challenge ourselves, then we are holding ourselves back. But if we feel safe and we can let go of some stuff that we've been holding back, I think that was the turning point for me. So really to dig deep, to go inside, and then also it was kind of important for me for having readers. So getting some feedback on my thoughts and my experiences. That was probably the turning point. So I can recommend that to anyone who feels that they have, unsolved issues that are holding them back. And I think we all have those things.
Everybody have that. Everybody, and in different variations, size, and blockages, and all sort of ways. And some people are forced to deal with it. Some people already know how to deal with it, so they do it on their own. I think it's different ways of realizing that we have these fears. Some people do it very young, as you were very young when you did it. Some people reach their 60s and don't understand why they have to do it, because that's not the way the society was when they were growing up. You know, they didn't talk about these things. So I think it's a very important point what you're saying, but are you kind of suggesting that everybody should write a book?
Now I'm working a lot with these inner development goals, which is, of course, like a something that came after the sustainable development goals, like the inner traits that we need as individuals to actually create a sustainable world. And I found them extremely interesting. And it's about self-awareness and like self-regulation and all of these things. So yeah, writing about your inner life, keeping a journal, kind of keeping track, looking inwards and like, why am I feeling so distressed when I meet a complex issue, for example? Because usually when we're trying to solve sustainability challenges, they are very complex and they're very emotional. So, you know, I've been trying to work with the fishing industry, same as the environmental movement and maybe retail, and they all have their very strong standing points, and they will never meet because they are all very emotionally invested in their, you know, standing point. Yeah. So we're talking, and I think that's also politics now, that it's, you know, we're on this side or that side, we're banging each other with a stick in the head, and we will never meet, and we will never solve the challenges that our societies needs. So these inner development goals is basically a way to, you know, keep track on your emotions and why do stuff cause distress within you, and then you have to deal with that. And I think that's extremely interesting and something that I'm not sure if we're not forced to do it, will we ever? Because we are these very lazy, you know, comfortable persons. We like to have a nice life, and we don't like to work with ourselves in that way. No, I don't think so. So sometimes life forces us to, you know, take stock about what we've been doing, the kind of person that we've been developing so far. And I think that's pretty healthy.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Linnéa. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for doing all the good work that you're doing for our, you know, for our future children and generations to come. And if you guys who are listening or watching this want to get in touch with Linnéa, we will post all of her social media handles. And Linnéa, is your book out so people can buy it?
Yeah. And if anyone wants to read it, I can send it for free because, you know, I'm just handing it out as a
wow. So don't miss out on this, because it must be an amazing book where we can read more about Linnéa's journey. And I bet we all can relate to it somehow on some level. So thank you again, Linnéa, for joining us and sharing your story with us.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.